Hey guys, welcome to 3 Mississippi. I am Mike,
I'm Sid.
and today we're going to talk to you about emergency power, backup power, convenience power, whatever you want to call it. Today's all about Bluetti and being prepared. Remember, guys, chance favors a prepared mind. We're going to plug this freezer up to this Bluetti. Oh, you hear that? It's off. No lights. All right, let's see what happens when we plug it in right here. Oh, lights back on. Compressor's running. All right, let's see what it's drawing. Tells us right here. It's drawing 115 watts with the compressor running. This is a really efficient freezer. Honestly, this thing should be able to run that freezer for days. Let's talk about some of the reasons that you might need or want to have emergency power or backup power on your property. I think it depends on your property what you need, but I believe that we all need to have something. Now, generators are really popular. Some people have a portable generator. We have a couple of portable generators. Some people have a whole house Generac unit tied into propane on the property. Those are great options. You're going to run out of propane eventually. You're going to run out of gasoline for your smaller generator. Hopefully, we're not going to run out of sunshine, right? And that's why having some sort of a solar option, even if it's just to augment your generator option, is huge for us. And that's why we're looking at this product. We live on 45-acre farm. We're going to be having outbuildings away from the main house. Our chicken coop right here currently has no power in it. We're almost done building that. And you can see there's a door right there that goes to the chicken coop, but this door back here actually goes into the brooder side. And by spring, we're going to need power in there. Now, I've considered trenching over to the shop, installing a sub panel in the shop, and then running a huge, expensive copper over to there and putting another sub panel, because that right over there, blank spot, is going to be the barn. We're building a barn right there next year. So we're going to want power out here. And it's going to be several $1,000s to run sub panels and get power out there. And the end result of that several $1,000s is I still have no power when the power goes out. And if you guys know anything about brooding birds, right? What happens if the power goes out while you have chicks in a brooder that are 5 days old?
Oh man, you're gonna lose them if you don't get them inside and warmed up in a hurry. Same thing if you're incubating eggs. You know, there's stages in that incubation process where even just a slight temperature fluctuation or a loss of power can cause you're in trouble. So you want to get that rectified as quickly as possible, and you don't want to be losing those baby birds that you work so hard to collect the eggs and breed and incubate and to get those final results of having those chicks. You want to make sure they reach it to maturity.
And I'm thinking, why not take it a step further and have them always plugged into that, right? Install a unit in the chicken coop and barn area that is charged by solar and is never tied into the grid. And no matter what, as long as the sun shines, we have power out there. If the birds in the brooder die, if the eggs in the incubator die, if meat in my freezer starts thawing out, these are all bad things. You know, we are, I don't know if we call ourselves preppers, but you probably would. We are of a prepared mind. We put up a lot of food every year. I have several deer in the freezer. We have, animals that we raise. We have 40 chickens in freezers right now, and we put up a lot of food. Giant garden, frozen vegetables. We don't want to lose that if the power goes out. On that extreme side of things, power goes out for several days, you need to have a solution. But what about just power goes out for 4 or 5 hours at night? You know, you're running around trying to light candles and trying to find flashlights that have batteries. Why not just have a built-in battery backup system that can last you a day? Not only can this unit be used as a portable solution for power, right? I can take it around the property. I could run a well pump off of it if I needed to in an emergency situation. I could run a skill saw off of it. I can run an air compressor off of it. But it solves a big problem for me in a kind of a more permanent power solution for structures that are not close to where my power tie-in is. Okay, for example, I was talking to you guys about the barn that we're going to be building right here. Okay, that barn's going to have a tiny house in it. It's going to be our guest house, plus it's going to be, you know, when Sid wants to stay the night out there because there's animals that are struggling, having babies, whatever, or she's just mad at me, I don't know. But we want to have some power out there. We want to have some power in the chicken coop and brooder that are beside where the barn's going to be. The cost of trenching and running power out to one of these two structures, putting a sub panel in that structure, and then powering both of those structures off of a sub panel that's in my shop, off of a main panel that's in my house. This is going to be a project, okay? But I was going to do it because we need to do it. This solves that problem. If I put this unit in the barn with a few batteries stacked underneath of it, I'm going to be able to run whatever's in my tiny house and then whatever's going on in the brooder, as far as depending on the time of the year. Sometimes a year, there's just not going to be drawing any power. Maybe a few LED lights if we go out at night to check on them. But then in the spring, when we're running heat plates, there'll be power being drawn. And all of that has a south-facing roof. That's south right there. And that roof slopes to the south. And we'll have plenty of space to put the necessary solar panels to keep this system charged, prevent us from having, we may spend the same amount of money putting this equipment in there as we would have spent trenching, putting in sub panels, and getting power, permanent power run out there, but then the power goes out. Did we spend our money wisely? I believe this is the wise option. Along that same thought process, you can actually stack up to 6 batteries underneath this unit, underneath this inverter. And then you can tie this system into your main panel of your house. So this can actually back up, run your entire house should the power goes out. Should the power go out. In the case of a power outage, you know what I'm talking about.
When the lights no worky.
That's right. When the lights no worky, just make the lights a worky.
There you go. So as you can see, guys, this unit has a really easy to read, clear digital display, so you can see exactly what the output and input is, what your battery life is that is remaining. It's, you know, these kinds of things sometimes for me are a little overwhelming because I am not that kind of savvy person when it comes to things that are more technology based, right? That's just not where my strengths are. And so sometimes I can look at that stuff and go, I don't know if I can do this. This one is so easy to use. There's
ONN, OFF.
Yeah, I mean it really is simple to use and simple to understand how to make it do the things you want it to do and get it to work.
Did I say ONN? I
think you did, but I was going to let it slide. I wasn't going to try to make you on off. And off. Wax on, wax off. But you know, it's easy to get overwhelmed by some of those things. But with the clear display, there's an easy to use app that works with the units. It's very simple to control it and get it to do what you need it to do for your needs on your property, for daily use, or to get you through when there's an outage, to keep you from having food spoil, or for something like us on the farm here. We had our power go out not that long ago when I had eggs in the incubator, and I scrambled to go get them plugged into the unit and save the day, because I would have lost all those eggs. And you know, that's the last thing you want to do when you're living out here trying to be a little bit more sustainable and try to raise your own as best you can when you're just starting out and you don't have some of those things established yet.
Right.
Losing those birds right off the bat can be kind of tricky. It's really important to be able to have something like that is a good backup, that's simple to use, that even me, a technological idiot, can make work.
If you're a city slicker, let's say you live in an apartment in like downtown LA or one of those high-rise condos in New York, you 100% need this.
Yeah.
100%. I want you to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Power goes out in a big city like that. Grid goes down for 10, 12 hours, or God forbid, a couple of days. It's, you know, a really serious situation. You're not going to be running a generator in a condo, in an apartment.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? This is what you need to do. You need to have this, keep it in there, keep it plugged in so that it's always charged. If you've got a small patio where you can launch your solar array to add to the charge once you start using it, even better. If not, man, you can tape that thing up on a south-facing window and get something out of it. But keep this thing topped off all the time. Keep it plugged in and ready for you. And then when that power goes out, conserve power. This thing's going to last a long time. Don't think for a second that you don't live on a farm, you know, or out in the country, so this doesn't apply to you. It may apply to you more.
It's important to be prepared and to have an idea of what you're going to do when something does happen. You know, what is your backup plan? Whether you are in a city in a high-rise apartment or whether you're out alone on a bunch of acreage, you know, or maybe even more so that you're completely off grid. Thinking of these things, how to survive through that, how to secure your food supply through that, how to make sure that you can keep your infrastructure going through all of that is important. And, you know, being prepared for those types of things, while we don't want to worry about them, we want to be prepared for them. So, you know, having something like this that's easy to use
Good takeaway from church this morning.
Right? You like that?
Yeah.
Is a good thing to keep in mind. So I and guys, I'm a fan because I'm not gonna say I get scared of the dark or whatever, but I get anxious when nothing works and I'm like, oh, what are we gonna do? I gotta hurry up and do this and gotta do that. And especially when you got, you know, this alleviates some of that initial panic of what am I gonna do? I have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
I have a thing that's going to help take care of some of the necessities of keeping the food from spoiling, of you know, making sure if I've got babies in the brooder, they're going to be okay, you know. So it alleviates some of that stress for me on the farm of, you know, when the power goes out, what are we going to do? This is what we do.
Chance favors the prepared mind. Okay, when somebody says to you, you know, when you have a flat tire, oh, you were lucky, you had a spare. I want you to say to them, no, I was prepared and knew how to change my tire. There is a difference. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in luck. Chance favors the prepared mind. Engage your mind into the things that you would like to be prepared for. And I promise you, without question, the likelihood that you're going to suffer a power outage this year and next year and the following year is extremely high. Guys, I've got this AC unit out here in the shop that I'm planning on using this summer actually to I'm going to build a little room in here, and I want to keep my market garden vegetables cooler in between the days I harvest until I go to market. You know, keep them cool for a couple days. So anyway, I've got this AC unit out here. Look at that. Cold air coming on in. Woo! And this is only drawing 300 watts. So honestly, we might have air conditioning in the shop this year off the Bluetti. Solar panels to the Bluetti. Boom. That feels good. All right, setup of this thing is really, really simple. I put the B300 on the bottom. This is a battery, okay? This is a 3072 watt hour battery. And on top of it is the AC300. This AC300 is the inverter, okay? And it's all the brains. It's also got the solar charger built in. For any of you the guys that know about solar, you know, you have your panels come into an inverter, separate unit. You got a solar charger actually that they go to first, and then over there. Then you got your batteries over here that run off of that. This is all in one. And out of the front of this unit, okay, we have various options. Okay, so these are your typical wall plugs. Actually, a little better than normal typical. You see that sideways slot right there? That means that it's 20 amps. A lot of your regular wall outlets are going to be like 10 or 15 amp outlets, and then occasionally you'll have some that are 20. You usually have them in your garage, and so these are all for 20 amp output. I'm sorry, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 20 amp output 120 VAC plugs. Okay. Then right here we have the 30 amp plug. This is what you'd use for an RV. You could run a welder off of this. I mean, that's nice. That's really nice. You can also use this to tie in to your house. So if you want to use this as a whole house backup system, stack a few more batteries under this, you can get up to 30 amps backup for your house. Now, for some of you, that might not run your air conditioning unit, but most of your house is going to run off of this. And then up here we have our USBs. Okay, we've got the blue USBs, which I think are 18 watts, and then we've got the standard USB. And then we have this. I've never seen this one before. The little USB-C. I've never seen it as a charging unit.
I have some stuff that's like that.
Yeah. And then over here we have some additional outputs. We have a 24 volt DC output and a 12 volt DC output, in case you have some units that need to run off of those. Now over here, real simple. This is where my electricity from the grid is plugged into it to charge it right now. Okay. Then down here we have a spot to connect the solar panels. So we have three options to charge this with. We have the grid plugs in right here, and that's what's happening right now. I'm charging this thing off the grid. And then we have a couple of other options so that we can use solar or whatnot to charge this. I think you can charge it off of a car battery that's running. So there's a couple different DC ways to charge this as well. Then we have this big old Mongo cable right here, and this cable is what connects the brains or the inverter unit to the battery unit. And you notice there's another light connection right here. We could do this again, and again and again. We could stack 5 more units underneath this, have this thing all the way up to here. So let's check out these USB connectors. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to plug that in right there. Nothing happened. It's not charging. What's up with that? Okay, I'll tell you what's up. Watch this. Remember Sid was telling you how nice and easy the screen is to use? I've got AC output and DC output right here. Okay. I'm going to turn on my AC output, and I'm going to turn on my DC output. And oh, what just happened? My phone is now charging.
And then, of course, you do have wireless options. I don't have anything that charges wirelessly. I think Frankie has some earbuds that we've charged wirelessly on here before. But you just lay them on top, and anything, some people have the phone cases or the phones that charge wirelessly. We're not that fancy. But, oh, your phone can?
Okay, there you go.
There it goes. Look at that. Just lay it right on top, and it does its thing.
And then you see Beulah's face.
And you see Beulah.
Now, I have a flashlight here that actually uses USB to charge as well. I'm going to plug this into the higher output side, stick that on there. That little red light tells me it's charging. When it turns green, it's charged.
Nice. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you are interested in getting your own Bluetti, please check below in the description for your discount code and a link to get your very own pieces to build your own battery unit setup here, so you can start running your own things, whether it be a case where you want to run a tiny house off of it or your whole house off of it, or maybe you just want to have it as backup in a bad situation. These things come in handy, let me tell you. We appreciate you guys for watching and joining us, and as always, stay blessed and safety's off.